welcome. Welcome to the 5th episode of Post-Apocalypse World. Post-Apocalypse World is our in-between episodes show / GM prep mini thing that we do where we sit down together and we talk about all the business that's going on in our post-apocalypse, in our game of Apocalypse World. And I walk you through all of the stuff that I do in between sessions to prep for it. So if you're grabbing this on the tail end of like a D&D Adventurers League episode and you haven't watched Apocalypse World yet, or you're not caught up on the episodes, this is going to contain some spoilers for you. So, be aware of that. And if you don't want to be spoiled, you haven't caught up, that's okay. This will go up on YouTube. You can catch it later. But thanks for coming. Thanks for hanging out. So let's talk about what needs to be done, shall we? Usually what I do and what I think I'm going to do for this one is just go through each of my, I always want to call them fronts. So they used to be called fronts. There are no fronts anymore. There's just the threat map, which I never seem to use. And there's threats. Maybe that's something we can do today. Maybe we can replace each threat on the map. You know what? Let's do that. Let's start there, shall we? Let's look at our threats. I'm going to get rid of all this crap because I don't need it anymore. And we're going to replace it with all of the appropriate stuff on the map. Okay, so this is the threat map. It represents the PCs and their resources, and it represents all of the things that threaten them, the things around them in their world that are causing them problems or will be causing them problems in the next immediate or distant future. It's a map of all the threats, as you can imagine. So let's take a look at what the threats are, and then we'll place them kind of one at a time. So I'm going to clear these. I'm going to clear these out. I don't need these. I'll refer to the threat map for these little, what I'm doing right now is I'm clearing the little indicators because I'd like to sort of fresh start these. Now, the location of each threat is notional. It depends on literal space, but it also depends on fictional space as well. So we're gonna need to work that out. So let's start with Templetown, and Templetown represents not just the town itself, but Bill, the situation with Templetown overall, and the characters that are a part of it, sort of its government and managing thing. But overall, Templetown is a mirage. It's false security. It's fake. It's not real. And Templetown is here just to entice and betray people, right? To lure them in with this false sense of security, and then really just not be good enough anymore. Now, the thing about this threat in particular, I think we can place this real easy. Templetown is right in the middle of things. And I don't know, the campaign might move, the game might move away, but for right now, Templetown is still very much front and center. So Templetown is in, right? This is where it is. I guess it's technically close but out because they're inside of Templetown. So Templetown, we place that right there, and that's how that goes. Okay, so Templetown is straightforward map-wise, maybe not so much threat-wise. We can change some of these things because the drought is over, right? The drought is done. So the deal to get time back, how will the town survive without water? What will they turn to survive the drought? Like all that's done, right? Like, unless I'm misremembering, I feel like because Bill let, or is it right? Like, I can't. The thing that really like stuck with me in the last one is the very end of the last episode, and I wanna. Some time is gonna pass, and so I need to work out like what will have happened. So it's hard for me to kind of like figure on this threat. I figure it exists, but I don't have like a solid idea for its direction anymore. The implication was that he was going to give the water back. Yeah, that's right. So I think we can. I'm going to leave this one. I'm going to put this one on hold. Yeah, we're going to put this on hold. So let's go ahead and put a new stakes question here. Can the town even survive anymore? Like, the town doesn't, Bill doesn't really have a lot of power anymore, and there's a lot of bad stuff coming, and all we can really ask is, like, what's going to happen here, right? So we're going to play to find out. I can't decide this. I know that Bill still has, he's still got one hold with Tynant, and Tynant basically just like laid down the law. Tynant was just like, look, I'm gonna interact with you, and that's that. So Templetown, I think, is fine where it is. We're gonna move away from that a little bit. Now let's place the temple itself. So the temple, I think, fits in a similar spot, right? I think that the temple is just outside the PC's immediacy. It kind of straddles the line, but that's why we are able to put motion on this map. So the temple is here because what's happened is this. Right? The temple has moved. The temple is no longer the property, or if it ever really was, of Tynant. It's moved out. So the temple's out here now. It's getting further away. So movement is a cool factor of this map. So the temple itself is a landscape. It's a maze. Its purpose is to trap and frustrate passage. It is made up by the water cult and the ghosts in the well, and it's connected to the town directly. We still haven't figured out what the ghosts are about or what they want, and we haven't figured out what ways the temple combats the maelstrom, right? But we do know that the well has changed, and I'm going to go ahead and move this clock along, because if you look, let me zoom in a little here. If you take a quick look, you'll notice that something bad gets into the water. Now, these are prescriptive and descriptive, and if you remember in the last session, something bad got into the water. Brace has done a bad thing. And now the water moves along. Right, so that's a thing. So good work, Brace. You are something bad. You got into the water. Next, the well will become poisoned, and that's gonna be a big serious one. And it can still be fixed once it's poisonous, but after that, not so much. Let's place these two. So just outside. Slowly crawling away. All right, we got Lamprey. Now, Lamprey was the best regular at Hit Me Up, which now no longer exists, really. I mean, Dice kind of gave up Hit Me Up, right? Dice committed suicide functionally. I don't think Lamprey matters anymore. I personally don't care about Lamprey anymore. I think Lamprey can fade away. We set ourselves to ask, is Lamprey relevant? I think the answer is no. So I'm gonna just see you later. See you later, Lamprey. Not a relevant threat anymore. Sunset's operation. So Sunset is a warlord. She wants to collect. She wants to have people in her pocket. I think that she's a background threat right now. Like she's kind of connected to Bill. She might be able to make a deal with Jeanette. I think the thing here, like when Jeanette shows up, like I think she's again like she's got booze, but she's gonna become more important if Hit Me Up falls apart. So I guess the question that I really have here, let's double check our stakes question. So do Bill and Sunset partner up? Doesn't matter anymore. Does Sunset make a deal with Rolf Ball's form? All right, let's rechange this one. So can Sunset survive the coming gang violence? If so, how? Right? We'll work around that. Let me get that out from behind my head. How long before Wall dies? Soon, right? Not today, but maybe tomorrow. So let's drop in one more. What will the effects of Hit Me Up going under have on Sunset's operation? Because, you know, will Sunset's ranch become the new place? If so, I might design it according to the Maestro D's stuff. We could figure out some keywords for it and make it a place. We'll rename it and all that. The thing about Sunset's operation, though, is until I know what's happening with Hit Me Up, I can't make any decisions about it. All I can say is, like, I don't know. It's hard ending on a cliffhanger, sort of a cliffhanger, like knowing the players are going to have to make choices, because I don't know how to prepare for them. So next session for me, I feel, is going to be a lot of reacting and a lot less acting, right? And we know that Sunset's operation is kind of outside the PC's understanding. It's to the west. The one thing, so here's the thing that I don't like about this map. I'm gonna just level a criticism of the new way, right, about this threat map. I don't like that it combines notional stuff and literal. Like, I like the in out, I like the kind of up down for establishing that stuff, but I don't like Sunset's operation. I could place it in a couple of different places, and this map doesn't help me, because if it's a map, I'll use that and it'll let me know where all these things are locationally. But if it's a tool for the GM to figure out how much along certain things are or how they're linked, I actually prefer fronts to this map. I don't know. I'd love to hear other people's feelings about it or how they've used it. But so far, you know, five prep episodes in, I gotta say I prefer fronts. But we're gonna keep working with it. Maybe I'll have a revelation. Maybe I'll figure it out. So Sunset's operation doesn't have a countdown. Honestly, stuff that doesn't have a countdown to me doesn't feel super real. So I'm not really worrying about it right now. I guess we can clear this too. You can see these things getting less relevant as their countdowns are resolved, or I would need to reiterate them as we go. Jeanette, still in a holding pattern, but not our next session. I think Jeanette's going to start sniffing around. So let's try to remember for the next session, a scouting party is going to visit Templetown. I think this is going to happen because they know that things are getting chaotic. They know that, like, we're at, in terms of episodes, we're kind of at our 6 o'clock, right? We're between 6 and 9 o'clock. And I'm going to start, we got to start pushing on these harder ones. So I think Jeanette's going to come and start sniffing around. Let's place Jeanette on the map. And Jeanette, we had established before, but it didn't really matter. I think she was just far away in a direction. And again, like, I don't care that much about what direction she's in. So, like, arbitrarily north fits. I don't know. Maybe there are some games that this map, you know, helps more in that regard, but maybe not for this particular game. So Jeanette is set. We're ready for her to start making moves, to hunt and dominate. Right? She's gonna come into town. The affliction at the temple. Now, this affliction here. This is a real threat. Let's place it on the map. It's got to be in the same place as the temple, unless it doesn't. Like, and that's the thing, right? Like, the temple is a threat on the outside, but is the affliction somehow, like, up or down? Like, I don't know. The temple's affliction, however, definitely exists and is happening. And let's go ahead and pop over to that. Oh, I should change with Jeanette too. The wolf pack is on their way in. They coming towards the PCs. Okay, so the affliction exists to promote and justify violence. Violence is coming. Violence is bad. There are things happening. We've reached the end of the line here, right? Like, the populace has embraced these as the new laws. And to a degree, Tynant, like, doesn't have the power they once had anymore, right? Like, we need to fix these up, because what will happen when Tynant comes home? Because Tynant's gonna try to boss people around, and it's not gonna go great. Oh, they have a leader too. They have, like, a secret kind of, like, leader in the background. Who was that person? Dust. Right. So we got to add, let's get rid of Deerfield here, and we'll put Dust. And let's put in a question. What retribution will Dust enact upon Tynant? And I think that that answers my question, right? So Dust is going to be like, look, these are the new laws, and you've broken them, right? You are not prepared for violence. You didn't stay in stockpile. Dust is sort of the new rising leader of the affliction. I also want to ask, I guess here is as good a place as any. What the... Actually, no. You know what? This isn't the affliction. This is the temple. I need to know what happened to Brace, because I don't know about this. I don't know what this is about. Brace was submerged in the water. So we'll have to figure out. I'm gonna ask Brace again. I'm in an awkward position where I can't enact any of these immediately. Like I like to come into a session with a hard, like a hit, right, with something going on, but I have to turn that over. It makes me a little uneasy, but I have to turn that over to the players because I have to let them make all these decisions, because at the end of the last session, a bunch of the characters like had changes, and we talked a little bit about them taking on new playbooks. So all I can do is think about the NPCs and what they want and might do. So I guess the other thing here is, I guess, what form will becoming violence take? It's real easy to predict violence in Apocalypse World. Okay. We got Jeanette to the north. We got that sorted out. Okay, let's move down a line. I'm doing this backwards, but that's okay. All right, Bean. Bean is dead. Goodbye, Bean. That was easy. Bean's toast. Bean does not get Hit Me Up. Nobody is left. Hit Me Up is a graveyard. So I think if Dice actually abandons Hit Me Up, it's just gone, right? A bunch of people will everyone will just move on. They'll find another place. Find another place to hang out. All right. Rolf Ball and Company. I don't think Rolf Ball and Company have too big of a change here. I do have some questions, but I think that this play might end up different. Let's place Rolf Ball. Currently, Rolf Ball, I would say, is a threat looming above. Rolf Ball's former gang. They are above. Their shit is about to get everywhere. And back on my threat map, we're gonna place Rolf Ball's gang hovering above. Now, all right. So here's the question. I'm gonna figure some of these out. Bill doesn't do anything. Someone might take over, but what I really want to know now is the question kind of becomes, will Junior die? And I think if nobody does anything to save Junior specifically, yes. If so, can Scab and Trench cut a deal? And if they do, that'll break here, and then we'll need a new countdown. How will Scab... I guess these are questions for later, because we don't know yet. But if Scab and Trench can get their shit together, the town will be better. The town will be better off, because when Jeanette shows up, Rolf Ball's gang will at least be able to fight them. But if Scab and Trench can't cut a deal, and it all goes to shit, then, you know, when Jeanette shows up, there'll be nobody left to fight. Because basically what I'm doing here is I'm setting up the players to, like, there's things the players are directly opposed to, right? I'm using what I'll call, I forget where he got it, but we'll call it Tor's corollary here, where I'm creating opposition that either has good goals and bad means, or bad goals and good means, right? So Rolf Ball's legacy, they really just want to create prosperity in the town, mostly for them, but also for their underlings and loyalists. They have good goals, but they want to do it by creating drugs and fucking shit up, right? Tynan doesn't like that. So if they fail, the town will not get that prosperity in defense. That's fine. Players can make their choices. If they succeed, drugs are a thing. The town is kind of poisoned. Tynan probably will have an issue there. For the affliction, I'm creating security and safety by way of violence, which would protect the temple from Jeanette. But if Tynan breaks this up, if Tynan is like, no, we must not stockpile, we must not prepare for violence, violence is always coming, but it's not important, this will fuck up the temple if the war cult never forms, because Jeanette will come and mess shit up, right? So it's a triangle of these three threats that represents a fair degree of seriousness for the town. They need to work on this shit, these threats. You pull one block out, the other two are gonna fall. The players need to sort this shit. Because if they don't, if the players just don't get involved at all, Scab and Trench and Junior will all go into open warfare. The town will get ravaged that way. If the players for some reason abandon the temple to the affliction, a war cult will form. Then they'll end up fighting with Rolf Ball. Like it's a lot of bloodshed and horror, and they're approaching the last minute to fix it. So Tynan, I think, is going to get in the way and deal with this. But if he doesn't, you know, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to make a note here. I'm going to just scrawl it in green. Hit me up? Question mark. Is it a landscape? I'll just graffito this. Because maybe it will be. Maybe it'll be like a cursed grave. We'll see. We'll see whether Dice comes back or Dice stays dead. And if so, in what form. Okay. So. Nipperkin. Old Nipperkin here. So Nipperkin is going to try to slip away. Nipperkin needs some time alone. And Nipperkin's jam is very much... Nipperkin's down here below the players. He's becoming all fucked up and weird. So Nipperkin, what I want to do with him is... He's going to try to slip away and fuck up his own body. He's going to do some shit. So I think what we want to have here is I'm going to intentionally kind of off screen him for a while. And when he comes back, he's going to be all mutilated. If the players ignore him, if he can get a whole session off screen, he's going to go to the dying grounds and he's going to fuck himself up. He's going to just like, yeah, he's going to become a monster. And this, I think, will kickstart the dying grounds. These two are very connected. But this grotesquerie happens in the background. I'm hoping that someone says, hey, where's Nipperkin? And I'm like, maybe you got to go find him. So I think next session will inflict this will answer some questions. He'll go to the dying grounds. His pain will awaken something. And I guess let's go ahead and put that here. So let's rename this. What will Nipperkin's pain awaken? The ancient machines that have come here to die. Bad shit will occur. So these are going to kick in probably next session. Now, if they get in the way, and I guess we can start a countdown. Let's start a fucking countdown. Countdown. All right. Nipperkin leaves for the dying grounds. Nipperkin opens his brain and his veins to the ancient machines. And then Nipperkin comes home wrong. And then I don't know yet, but it won't be pretty. Whatever this is, and I'll fill these three out depending on how the next session goes. Yeah, he integrates himself or becomes a beast. Yeah, it's gonna be horrible. It's gonna be real like Tetsuo the Iron Man machine body horror. Ugh, it's gonna be bad. I promise. So, content warning, I guess, on that. All right, and the new shit is all up in your business. This is a bad time. And I don't care about dice, but the new shit continues unabated. And it is a threat that is inside. And let's dump it in here. So this is an inside threat. Use your inside threats, kid. And if you don't remember, the new shit is drugs. It's major drugs. It's some drug business. It's going to be bad. I don't think it's really advanced any further because there's a bit of a stall. But what'll happen is, okay, again, this is why I preferred fronts to the threat map. I could very easily assign different things, like different fronts to different kinds of bad shit going on. These feel much more scattered. They feel like a Jackson Pollock painting instead of the one with the blocks. Art. This is why I don't have an art degree. So, this particular paint splatter continues to barrel on. I think what we can do here is I think we can move it. See, it's dependent, right? Like the addicts still have Hit Me Up. If Hit Me Up goes away, then the addicts will only want that new shit. But if Hit Me Up stays, that might... we'll make a stakes question. Let's just ask. What effect does Hit Me Up have on the trade? And then I think that'll happen. I think we'll do that. Mondrian, is that the name of the artist? I can't remember. It's like he makes block paintings that look all orderly and organized. Anyway. So cool. All right. So here's our new shit. We've got a lot of mechanics for the new shit, and we've got a good like de-harm thing because it'll go away if people stop taking it. I feel like that's it, right? Like I feel like that's all I can do, because sometimes when you play this game, you're the inciting force. Sometimes you're like last session, you're like, ooh, I have so many things to do, right? You're the evil overlord. But in other circumstances, you're a slave to the character's whims, and all you can do is watch them kind of do their thing, which is sort of how I feel right now, right? Like I feel like I'm gonna have to react, and I feel like I'm ready to react, but there's a tension that I don't have control over right now in the game. And that's actually not so bad. Like I feel good about that. The threats are only there for you to understand the tools you have available. The game is not yours to decide, right? We're gonna play to find out what happens. I just have to play extra hard to find out what happens next time. So yeah, we sort of refreshed all our threats. It's a good way to put it, and we'll see what happens in our next episode. So stick around for that. We're gonna be doing that episode a day later than usual. So I've got tomorrow, and then on Wednesday we're gonna play at the usual time. So I hope I will see you there to help me make sense of all this chaos. Yeah, cool. All right. So yeah, that's it. That's it for me. Thank you for joining me for this week's episode. I feel part of me is screaming. Part of me is screaming right now, like, you don't have enough prep. You're going to make a fool of yourself. Everyone's going to look to you to find out what happens, and you're not going to know. But the rest of me, the part of me that's played this game before, I got this. And you, my dear Maelstrom viewers, you're there to help me out. All right. That's it for this week. See you in a couple of days. Don't let the Maelstrom bite.